Hi there, Buttercups.
It's Mr.
Welcome
Rogers.
back to another edition of Love in Action Deconstruction Junction. I'm Dr. Flo, not telling you what I heard, but what I know. What I know is that you're loved and lovable. You've always been loved and lovable, and you're going to be loved and lovable for the rest of your life. And no matter what you're going through today, I am experiencing housing instability. Tara is now publicly announced incubating a whole human. Tara was being terrorized at 7:15 this morning, according to her Snapchat, by a tiny person who could not figure out what to do with plastic takeout lids. And the list goes on of the challenges that we are facing in the world at large, some of which we're going to talk about today. The important thing to remember is that in every circumstance of your life, you are deeply and profoundly loved and lovable. You are held and supported. And when you call out to the universe responds. And the universe uses amazing people like Tara, who you'll meet in a second, and those who've been supporting us through Venmo and Cash App and Instagram direct messages, all as part of this economy of kindness that we are all in, this interdependent thing that we're all in, and also this call through all of our circumstances, especially at 7:15 in the morning, to wake up. Life is happening in real time, and we are encouraged enough and equipped enough and empowering each other enough through programs like this Deconstruction Junction to stay aware, awake, and inspired in the world. And it's been a thrill for the last few years in various types of programming, but in the last 2 years in this one, to be able to share from an open heart and to pour from an open cup into the world through this program. I said my first of the podcast a few seconds ago, and it reminded me of a resolution that I believe that Tara has this year to use less filler words. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, I saw someone on TikTok on their journey of not using filler words, and I was kind of like, there's one. I kind of want to do that because I say a lot, like when I'm thinking about something. So, yes.
One of the things that I coach people in my performance coaching wing of the business is that when you are using filler words, it's typically because you are speaking too fast. You have this stream of consciousness happening in your 60 to 70 to 80,000 thoughts that we have going on every day, and you want them to get out. But sometimes our words are moving faster than our brains are, or our brains are moving faster than our words. Filler words are always an opportunity to slow down, to chill out, and to let life happen exactly as it's supposed to. Now, I'm going to read my introduction today because I'm supposed to be working on doing more of that. I'm a Broadway trained vocalist, teaching artist, and operations leader with over 15 years of experience spanning music education, community arts, program management, and creative operations. I'm also the founder and creative director of Love and Action Network, and we are a multidisciplinary initiative centered on creative expression, wellness, and community connection. And Deconstruction Junction is part of that community connection. Even when I'm in a hotel, stabilizing my whole life with my partner in Savannah, Georgia, it is still a thrill of my life to get on the hotspot. So if you start to get a little glitchy today, just know that that's what that's about. It is a thrill of my life to get on a hotspot and to put positive vibes out into the world with an energy of an angel that we call Tara Praolo. Could you introduce yourself to the people today as we get started before we move through the deck?
In the arms of the angels, we're away from here. In the arms of the angels. That is my best voice, and you should all come on January 31st, February 5th, February 7th, or February 8th to see the world premiere of My Name is Florence. I'm gonna talk about that later. I don't like the angle that I'm sitting at, y'all. Okay, there. I'm Tara Priolo. I am your resident Black, biracial, multi-passionate musician. I had that trouble this morning when I was recording Boost. I was like, who am I? I make the intangible tangible by helping you release your entanglements. Okay. I also, Flo was mentioning that I am incubating a human. I have a little human who's sleeping, so that might interrupt the broadcast a little bit. But I'm also at the epicenter of yet another state-sanctioned murder. I am in Minneapolis. So I'm carrying that today, as I have for the last however many years that I've lived here, which is, gosh, I moved to Minnesota. Wow. I moved to Minnesota in 2013. So I have been in Minnesota for 13 years, which is kind of crazy. And before that, I lived in Nebraska, but my mom was from Minnesota. And so, like, we always had eyes on Minnesota. So pretty much everything that has happened here, I am very aware of. And I've got the other thing that I should just let people know before we jump into the first thing. You may hear my text messages going off. I do have a couple friends that live around here that may need some help with situations that are happening that we're going to talk about first. So yeah, if you see me or hear that, it is because I'm trying to help my friends and trying to keep people safe if they need it. I believe Dr. Flo is sharing out the pod with folks. And I will just reiterate that Dr. Flo and Poppy could use more help. They could use positions that Dr. Flo can fill, contractor positions, as well as gig positions. Dr. Flo could use some students. And of course, donations are always welcome. There is a merch store. There is the music. You can pay for the Loved and Lovable Anthem on Bandcamp. You can pay what you want for that and get something in return. And so just, we all need a little help, y'all. Like we all need a little help. And especially in these times. If you are a person that is interested in discussing the world issues, the local issues, your own personal issues, things you're noticing in your environment, we would be happy to have you on Deconstruction Junction or any other facet of this podcast. You can just go to lovedandlovable.bio.link and drop us a line, and we will get you into the process, and you will have your name there on the screen.
I want to hop in and also say thank you to everybody who has contributed. I know that we've got some friends who are passing through on YouTube and Facebook watching today. If you'd like to comment and have your comment shared on the screen, you can go over to my YouTube channel and comment there, and we'll put them right on up. And also, heartfelt thank you to everybody who has once again sent the cash apps, called and said, I love you, I support you. Venmos from the West Coast, all of it's just sitting in a pot to help us continue to stay out of harm's way as we were pushed into the streets of a city that I've never lived in before, which was nuts. All is well. All is well. Everything is working out for our highest good. And out of this situation, only good will come. And we are safe. All is well. All is well. Everything is working out for our highest good. And out of this situation, only good must come. And we are safe in the world. All is well. All is well. Everything is working out for our highest good. And out of this situation, only good must come. And we are safe. Some of my nights recently here have been rough because I'm adjusting to the anguish that I feel inside about my present situation. Thank you, Tara. But I'm also adjusting to what we are seeing in these TVs in our pockets.
Which leads to the ICE murders. And I put murders because we're going to talk about two specifically today. But before I get into the specifics of that, I would just like to say that we do know, I've seen two different numbers. I've seen 32 and 34 people that have died or been murdered by ICE in the last year. So while we're talking about these two currently, and that I believe that's probably a very light number. Oftentimes these people are just lost in the system, and we don't really know the whereabouts. Like y'all remember Dr. Ian Roberts? I haven't heard anything about Dr. Ian Roberts for a bit, and I believe there were court hearings in December, and I've seen that.
Yeah.
So, just know that the federal government and ICE are working to hide all of this and cover it up. And so there's probably much more that we don't know. And I also just want to say, people are going to miss things. And we have to give people grace. Like I see so much vitriol right now being thrown at people that are saying almost the same thing. I got a YouTube comment this morning that was like, she was murdered. You have to say murdered. I'm like, this is a baby clip. Go watch the whole video. We're literally saying the same thing. We're literally saying the same thing. Give people grace, give people time, give people the opportunity to grieve. This is big stuff. This is big stuff. Just like Gaza was a big thing, just like Ukraine was a big thing, just like George Floyd was a big thing. All of this is big, and it's very heavy to carry. And it is okay to give people grace. It's okay that people don't know. It's okay. It's all okay. So we're going to talk about Renee Nicole Good, and we are going to talk about Keith Porter Jr. today. First up, we're going to talk about Renee. I know a little bit more about Renee than I do about Keith because information is just coming out today about Keith. So if you want to bop ahead, there is a video, I think.
Before I bop, I just want to let y'all know, I looked it up. Ian Roberts, the former Des Moines public school superintendent, who was arrested by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, the bullies and murderers known as ICE, in September 2025, is currently in the custody of the U.S. Marshal Service in the Polk County Jail in Iowa. He's awaiting a federal criminal trial. Roberts, a native of Guyana, who had a final order of removal and deportation issued in May 2024, faces federal charges for possessing a firearm as an illegal alien and also making a false statement for employment. They say that he falsely claimed U.S. citizenship on his I-9 form. He's pleaded not guilty to both charges and is contesting the validity of its immigration proceedings. The trial date is set for December 1st, 2025. That was what came out of the internet. From what I read most recently, he is in a pre-trial right now, with the court set to extend his process from December 15th with a good faith resolution deadline of January 12th.
Okay.
Plea notification deadline is set for January 28th, and the federal trial is set to begin on March the 2nd.
Goodness. Slow moving. So we will click forward.
They get paid by the hour,
I guess. And there should be a link that this goes to. And then I'll explain some of the things that are happening in the city.
Let's bring in our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas. Pierre, we finally did get video cleared. You are seeing the actual footage there of a bystander that captured the video on a cell phone. We have two totally different stories here and a massive investigation that is underway, being led by the FBI. You've got DHS, Pierre, Kristi Noem, saying this was domestic terrorism, that this ICE officer was reacting in self-defense. But then you have the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, and also the police chief, Brian O'Hara, saying there is much more to this story that is simply not true, that the ICE officer was not necessarily reacting in self-defense.
Well, Kara, we have a total disconnect, as you say, between what the federal government is saying and what the local authorities are saying. You saw the governor of Minnesota, in this case, express his frustration with ICE and the enforcement that's going on in the city of Minneapolis. But he was very clear in trying to point out and urging citizens to peacefully protest and to conduct themselves in a way that did not invite more violence. I think the key here is that the video, there apparently is going to be body camera video from the ICE agent's perspective. They're going to have to go through that video frame by frame. But I think the key here is that law enforcement officials from DHS perspective, they are loud and they're clear. As you say, the Secretary of Homeland Security calling this an act of domestic terrorism. They put out a statement that
I'm sorry. We can complete the video. I just need, and this may be the wrong time to ask this question given what we are experiencing collectively here in this podcast and live stream, and also what we're experiencing in the world. But I do have a very serious question about this. Where is the rest of this man's mustache?
I was wondering why his glasses were like his glasses are like tiny. Like
that's
look at how tiny, like they're like tiny lenses. I don't listen. Maybe he had somebody had an accident with it.
He has a.
The woman was using the vehicle as a weapon to try to run over the ICE officers, that there were ICE officers injured. All those things now have to be investigated by the FBI. Also, the state police officials will be involved in this investigation. But, Kira, what you've seen over the last few months is as ICE expands their efforts across the country, tensions in the communities are rising. And there has to be, going forward, it would seem to me, more education about how people are to conduct themselves in these situations as well. But again, the investigation will have to determine exactly what happened. In this case, split-second decisions are being made, but also we don't have any information from the woman's perspective and what she feared was going to happen to her as well.
We do have a perspective from another woman, which was her wife, who was in the car. And they literally blew her head off in front of her wife. Now, I'm not sure that video is really clear. So I'll just take it back a little bit. About 10 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Let me back up a little bit further. So over the last 6 months or so, things have been escalating between Minnesota's state government and the federal government. Mostly because Trumpykins is mad that Walz said some things about him on the campaign trail when Walz was running with Kamala. Then there was this whole fabrication of childcare facilities in Minnesota not having children in them, even though they went to them over a holiday break when they were closed. And that was because of Nick Shirley, who was working with the Republicans that are state officials here. And the federal government retaliated and pulled funding from childcare. And also there was a fraud case from 2021 that was actually already done and prosecuted. The people are in jail in 2023, but it was re-brought up by the federal government to essentially justify sending in troops to Minnesota to quell the Somali community is what they were targeting. However, we all know that means all Black and brown people are targeted because clearly all of them look the same to ICE. So that's the backdrop. And in late December, Donald Trump and the federal government sent in 2,100 ICE agents to Minnesota. So a drastically increased presence. And this happened, like I said, on Wednesday, so January 7th, around 10 a.m. It's a little unclear because the cameras didn't, the videos don't really show what was happening prior, but we do see in some perspectives of the video, Renee pulling out an ICE vehicle, literally almost slamming into her. She stops. She goes to wave the other ICE vehicle past. The truck, this second vehicle, stops. All of the agents, which is 4 or 5 agents, get out of the truck. One runs up to her door, starts pulling on her locked door, trying to pull her out of the car. And the other ICE agent is standing in front of the car, leans over and shoots through the windshield, and then shoots 2 or 3 more times through the open window as Renee's car speeds forward away from him, right? He's literally chasing after the SUV at one point, and then claimed he had a hip injury, is what I heard this morning. He has a hip injury because he got hit by the car, which he didn't get hit by the car. Y'all can go watch the video. So Renee had 3 children, but there's one that's being focused on right now because he is technically an orphan. He's a 6-year-old, and his father died in 2023, and while he has been living with Renee and her wife, it seems that there may not have been an adoption established with her wife, and so that the child is getting a little lost in this. And I hope we'll be okay. I hope people continue to talk about the child in this situation. Now, also, the same day, ICE attacked a high school at dismissal time. They arrested staff members, and they kept one of the staff members overnight. They used tear gas on high schoolers and essentially tried to clear it. So Minneapolis public schools since that point have been closed. They were closed Thursday and today. And other cities in town are doing the same. Fridley was closed today. Columbia Heights was closed today. And Minneapolis Public Schools is offering e-learning until February 12th for those that want it. There have been protests the last 2 nights. There have been several press conferences for Walz, from Walz and Frey, as well as people like Nikema Levy, who you all may remember. She was a big name during the George Floyd protests, as well as 38th in Chicago and 612 Defend. Those are kind of those are spaces you can follow. You can also follow Monarca. That's an organization here that is helping with immigration and helping people get out of these situations. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now, is essentially like these people are attacking the schools and they're killing people in broad daylight and just trying to stoke fear. And I will say that Donald Trump said he's sending more agents. I don't know if that has happened yet, but in response to one of Tim Walz's press conferences, Donald said, we're going to send more to quell the crime, right? Which actually crime was lower before ICE got here, according to all of the metrics. Jacob Fry talked about that this morning. And I will just raise here that I do think it's very problematic that Jacob Fry and Tim Walz are calling for peaceful protesting. And I just want to remind people that the people without the guns are not the ones escalating this. The people with the guns are always the escalation, always. And that is always ICE. It is always law enforcement. It is always these people, right? And so it is just a reminder that people, law enforcement and ICE, are going to inflict the terror whether or not the people rise, whether or not the people are being violent. They're going to do what they're going to do. Renee was doing nothing but trying to get away, and they killed her. George Floyd was doing nothing. They killed him. Philando Castile was trying to comply. They killed him. These are all in Minnesota. So Dante Wright trying to comply. Dalal Eid trying to comply. Right? These are all situations that could have been completely avoided by law enforcement not escalating the situation. So I really think it's very dangerous what Walz and Fry are calling for. I think it's very dangerous that Walz has authorized the National Guard, even though he says it's against ICE. We all know what happened in 2020 here with the National Guard and what they did to the people of Minnesota. It's been very, I have to say, like, having lived here, like I said at the top of this, for 13 years, like, and having lived here during the uprisings in 2020, it is really, like, it's very traumatic that Minnesota continues to be the epicenter of this. Like, you just don't get a rest, you know? And it could have happened anywhere, but it did happen. Renee was shot 6 blocks from where George Floyd was murdered. So if that gives you perspective of how, like, close this was and how intentional something like this was, right?
Can I offer my conspiracy theory that I didn't get to share last night in the private
I
chat?
thought you were talking about I thought that was your conspiracy theory. That they were coming to get that's not your conspiracy theory? You have a different one?
What did you think? What did you think my
The
conspiracy
thing that
theory
you
was?
told me, I thought the thing that you told me was the conspiracy theory.
What did I tell you? You withholding because it's something that shouldn't be
I
aired
thought
in
you were
public?
saying that your conspiracy is that they're going to come take your car.
Oh, no, 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 no. And which is
Oh,
no longer a conspiracy, folks. That's just us needing to talk to the people who
no thing.
could. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we've got a little bit of window. Got actually a whole month of window to to close that loop. And shout out to everybody who's also in that situation in the world as well, of wondering if I didn't realize that the new cars that they sell have GPS installed so that the people who would come to take your car don't have to look as hard for it.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that?
I've never heard of that. But isn't it a 2013? Is your car a 2013 or 2016? Because my car's a 2013 and I ain't got no GPS in my car.
Yeah. That's like a new thing where in order to find you, Big Brother, and you actually can get into trouble and automatically default on the loan for the car if you disrupt that process in any way and try to power it down. So
Wow.
it's wild. No, that's not my conspiracy.
That's not the conspiracy. Okay.
And just hang on to your seatbelts, folks. This is going to be outlandish. As a theater person, there are a lot of angles that are missing from this state-sanctioned murder. And you know how I feel that there are a bunch of people at Area 51.
God.
I'm trying to wrap my mind around why the physician was not allowed to touch her, why the paramedics were not allowed to touch her for 15 minutes.
That's because it took them 15 minutes to get there. But yes. And then ice blocked their entry. But
what
yeah.
if this is part of some larger plan that we don't know anything about, that we cannot see? What if your idea of it being 6 blocks away from the George Floyd situation is... I cannot get away from the fact that the ICE officer approached from the back of the vehicle, walked around the right-hand side with his camera, actively filming the people who were protesting against him. And then with camera still in hand, filmed himself putting a bullet through the windshield and also firing multiple rounds into the vehicle. And while that's very compelling, and it probably went the ways that we all believed it went, I just wonder if it's part... I mean, it is part of a larger psychological operation to make us all fearful of standing up for what is right. That is unavoidable. What if she is at Area 51 drinking coffee?
I don't think Renee is at Area 51. I think Renee and Charlie actually got unalived. Charlie really, we saw that.
Why are you grinning about it? You shouldn't be grinning about it. I don't think that you should.
Because how are you gonna be like, it's okay that there's a couple of deaths from gun violence and then you get killed by gun violence. Like, anyway, like you were saying about your hotel stay that you have manifested for the last 5 years, while also being like terrified of it. Like, he clearly manifested gun violence being the way that he was exiting the earth. Here's the thing, like I explained earlier, like this has been leading up, right? For the last 6 to 8 months has been leading up in Minnesota. I don't know that he was supposed to kill Renee. I think he was just supposed to kill somebody in that location, around the location of the George Floyd stuff.
Okay, now we're getting a hybrid.
The local government is still very mad that the people control 38th in Chicago. The people have put legislation through our local government to keep that area sacred, right? The government here is still upset about that. So do I believe that Tim Walz and Jacob Fry are totally against the federal government? Nah, girl. Like, there's a reason that they're telling us to please protest peacefully. Let today be a day of unity in remembrance of Renee Nicole Good. Like, y'all are doing and saying all the right shit. And I believe not a word of it, because I know what happened to the Black people here. I know what happened. I lived here. I was in it. I was driving downtown daily. I was doing it.
You're also directly affected by the terror that's being caused by ICE in the community.
Right. So, like, the terror is very real, right? I do think she's dead, because, like, it was very, if you watch the video, y'all, like Flo was saying, it's very odd. It's a very odd timing for him to pull out his gun. He just, like, randomly whips out his gun and shoots her. And it's like
he placed himself. He walked around the back of the vehicle, walked up the side of the right hand of the car, and then intentionally had to walk in front. Like, he could have stayed on the right hand side of the car and just stayed there
and let her go.
Her go.
Like,
he walked in front of the vehicle and ended up on the front left side to point blank range. And the irrefutable evidence that we're going to see them harp upon is that bullet through the windshield is positioned at the level of definitely getting a headshot.
Right. Like, he leaned over. He was on the hood. Like,
there's a clear intention to cause harm.
Right. And, you know, once again, like, why? And we ask this question every time a state sanctioned murder happens, right? Which is like, why do the people that are suffering the violence have to be the ones calming the situation, right? Why? Like, that's crazy. If someone is trying to get in my car, I saw somebody ask earlier, like, as a woman, like, what do they teach you? They do not open your door, get the fuck out of there, right? Like, so even if she had an intent to hit him, to get him up out of the way, that's what we're taught. Her weapon was the car, and she still didn't hit him.
Let me pull this up, because this is something that I saw this morning coming out of it's not in my saved, it's actually in my likes or my repost. I'm gonna go over here. We're a little early in the episode for my let's see if this.
Good afternoon. I'm Rochelle Bilal, the sheriff for the city and county of Philadelphia. And I say her name, Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. This should not have happened, but we're here today. Let know that law enforcement professionals, real ones, not the fake made-up ICE, probably Trump's new army to attack citizens of the United States. Did you hear what I said? No law enforcement professional wears a mask. None. None. Those that come into our communities wearing a mask to commit crime, thank God for our district attorney, Larry Krasner, who say he's going to lock them up. And I'm saying now, we are not going to whisk you away for them to hide your identity, because when you do it there, you're getting arrested there. No whisk away for them to hide you. None of that here. None of that here.
Yes, ma'am.
Law enforcement professionals do not shoot at moving vehicles. I'm not saying fleeing, because she wasn't fleeing. She was getting out of the way. Law enforcement professionals do not stand in front of moving vehicles invoking an action that is illegal.
Yes, ma'am.
No, we don't. And so we stand here today with all those who stand against the made-up, fake, what you can call ICE professional law enforcement I don't call them none of that. I call them made up, fake, wannabe law enforcement. Because what they do is against not only legal law, but the moral law. So I'm with the DA, and we will work with them. If any of them want to come in this city and commit a crime, you will not be able to hide. Nobody will wish you off. You don't want this smoke, because we will bring it to you.
No, ma'am. I don't want it.
And the fake, whatever they call them, because I can't say the name, but the criminal in the White House would not be able to keep you from going to jail. Renee Good should be here today. And to her family, we are saying law enforcement professionals are not the ones here in this city that would do that.
Amen. Yes, ma'am. I don't want that smoke. I ain't coming in her city. Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
We have already dealt enough with Philly people in our lives to know that it's already rough out there.
No way.
Ain't no way. And I love that she highlighted this. I do not like that Border Patrol officers and ICE officers wear masks.
Yeah. I don't.
To me, it is a modern take on Klan work.
Yeah, they replaced the sheets with masks. Yeah. I agree. That's all it is. It's a glorified gang of white folks trying to initiate
terror,
ethnic cleansing. Yeah. Okay, let's move to Keith. So once again, like, I just saw this kind of sparking up on Threads Wednesday night. Bunches of people were kind of saying, like, why wasn't Keith's names lifted up? And lots of people blaming it on race. Yes and no. It was in the middle of the night. The ICE dude was off duty. Lots of things were not, and there's no video, which doesn't really matter because this dude got murdered. But
why are off-duty officers discharging their weapon?
Right. So
on civilians.
Right. So this happened December 31st. Supposedly, and again, this is just like, I read some reports on it. Supposedly, Keith on New Year's Eve was celebrating. He was shooting a gun into the air and came towards a building where this ICE agent was staying. And the ICE agent, instead of doing the right thing, which is to call local law enforcement, because ICE does not deal with law enforcement. Like, that's not, ICE is supposed to be dealing with immigration. Anyway, this off-duty ICE agent picked up his gun, went outside, so took himself out of a safe situation, and went outside and killed Keith. That, and I guess, and this is where, like, the timeline gets a little fuzzy for me, because all the articles that I've read said that his family on Monday, like this week, started asking for, like, accountability and for this dude to be arrested. But I couldn't quite understand why there was that difference of like 5 days, or if that's like a misreporting thing. Like, there's something very convoluted about this particular murder. But we're lifting it. Keith Porter, murdered by an ICE agent, whether on duty or off duty. No one should be murdered by law enforcement like that, or Border Patrol or ICE. My mom literally texted me as we were getting on here and, said, like, it doesn't matter what people are doing, they should not be killed. And that is true. Like, it literally does not matter that he was firing a gun, because law enforcement, ICE and Border Patrol are not the law. They are not the executioner. That we literally have a judicial system that doesn't work to determine who gets to live and who gets to die and who has to go to jail. That's not law enforcement. That's not ICE. That's not Border Patrol. That is none of the above. That is not the military. That is not their purpose. So when these people decide to execute, because make it very clear that none of these officers have been in danger, right? None of these ICE agents have been in real danger.
And to execute in broad daylight.
Right, right. And so, and again, like back to Philando Castile, back to George Floyd, those officers, none of them were in danger. None of them. None of them were in danger. And they chose to execute people. And that is not their job. So whether or not Keith was posing a threat, right? Whether or not the ICE agent says that Keith pointed his gun at him, which quite frankly, I think a lot of people with some dude that you don't know walks up to you with a gun, like, and you also have a gun, what do you think is going to happen? Anyway, like that's wild. But still, in that situation, even if a gun is pointed at an officer, they are not supposed to kill. They are supposed to try and shoot some other part of their body, but not kill them.
Tires. I'm still trying to figure out why this quote unquote ICE officer, which some would say the police are supposed to be keeping the peace, why they didn't shoot for the
Shoot the tires.
tires.
Why
and
didn't you
then
shoot
and
the
then
engine? Why didn't you shoot the gas tank? Like,
not the
and,
gas tank.
and again with Keith, like,
Not the
why
gas tank.
wouldn't you shoot the ground next to Keith? Why wouldn't you shoot his foot? Like, why are we shooting to kill? Why are we shooting to kill? That's not a thing.
Well, because these
they're
people
supposed to
actually
do.
like to cause harm. They actually like to
Right.
cause harm.
Right. And they're getting paid to do it.
Speaking of which, I'm glad you said that. Not glad that you said they're getting paid to do it, but I looked this up. Here's from a good old Google search with the AI overview. U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement is primarily funded by the U.S. Congress through the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, through their budget, with recent legislation providing massive increasement for detention and deportation, largely funded by the One Big Beautiful Bill Act and DHS appropriations bills. This funding comes from the U.S. federal government, and it is allocated for operations, detention facilities, personnel, and technology, with significant portions going towards enforcing immigration laws and detaining immigrants, making it a major federal law enforcement agency. This is state-sanctioned murder. The people who we're not talking to enough, because I've not written a single thing, and some would say that I need to be moving in that direction. The fact that we as citizens are not applying pressure to our Congress representatives and senators to stop the funding of our own murders is a very interesting situation that we as citizens are placing ourselves in.
There are scripts out there. If you all would like them, you can call local officials, you can call state officials, you can call federal officials, senators and House members, House representatives. There are scripts out there if you would like to do that. But this brings up a point that, like, there's a lot of people online right now that are like, it's actually Obama's fault. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. And yes, Obama did deport people. And yes, ICE was created under Obama. That is all true. That is a very true statement. It is not good, right? That's not a
ICE
good
was
thing.
created under Obama?
In its current iteration, ICE was created under Obama. Yeah. And Trump has just taken advantage of it. Biden did nothing with it. Kamala did nothing with it. Trump did nothing with it the first time he was in office. And again, not like it doesn't actually matter because we're dealing with the situation in front of us, right? Obama was president almost 20 years ago now. He was elected in 2008. It's 2026. It's 2026. And so we have lived with ICE for 20 years. For 20 years. We've let it continue, right? And so, yes, call these people, but also know that, like, some of you out there really believe that the Democrats are going to save you, and the Democrats created this. The Democrats have continuously allowed it to happen. The Democrats continue to fund it when they have majorities in Congress. The Democrats are not going to save you any more than the Republicans are going to save you. So just be clear about that they are not coming to save you. And therefore, yes, call your representatives, write your representatives, get the emails out the door, use 5calls.org, use Telegram, use these things. But do not get it twisted for a second that you don't need to know how to protect yourself and how to protest. Don't get that twisted. Calling your reps is the bare minimum at this point. You need to know how to de-arrest people. You need to know how to keep your family safe. You need to know how to keep you safe. You need to know how to stay warm when it's 30 degrees outside and we're protesting. You need to know when to get out and when to stay in it. You need to know how to observe ICE.
And when to get out is very interesting because I'm trying to figure out where the footage is. What was happening prior to where the tape starts for us?
That's my question. That's my question, because like it seems very weird because initial reports, right? And this has kind of changed over the last 2 days. But like the initial reports were like that she was, and they're still calling her a legal observer. But the video doesn't actually start until she's pulling out of a parking spot, which to me, when you watch the video, looks like she's just trying to leave the neighborhood. Like she lives on the block or something and she's trying to leave the neighborhood. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, and then the ICE dude kind of runs into her. But initial reports were saying that she was protesting or she was observing someone else being taken by ICE. But then you see ICE arrive. To me, it's very convoluted. I would love something. One of my friends messaged me and said that he knows people that live on the block and he's hoping that like Ring camera footage could help with that to like see what's going on beforehand. But like, why was the camera started at that moment? Like why did all of these witnesses
which is
suddenly
why I call
turn on their
PSYOP.
cameras?
That's why I call PSYOP, because it's like we've not seen any footage before that moment. Now, some are reporting that she was obstructing ICE from passing down the street, which was using her vehicle as a
which is also
barricade.
not because there was a whole half a road. And one ICE vehicle does go past. But also, there's that white van that you see, right? Not one of the ICE vehicles. The ICE vehicles are silver. There's a white van. She tries to turn around the white van, but there's a white van in the middle of that lane. And I'm like, why? And with its back doors open. There's something that we're missing in the pre.
Is it the van that took her to Area 51?
No, because she ran into the light pole and the EMS carried her out of there over their shoulders because they couldn't get a stretcher in.
They carried what looked like a body,
according to AI.
Like why was no one allowed to touch her or see her after it happened?
Yeah, that's it. But that's the same thing they did with George Floyd. The same thing. EMS was not allowed in. EMS was not allowed in.
It's weird that law enforcement, and we know their intention was to unalive her permanently because they did not want her to come back to life.
They did not.
They wanted her to be.
And they kept saying, we have our own medics, we have our own medics, we have our own medics, but the medics never came. Local EMS came.
They have their own medics? Why would they need their own medics?
That's what the ICE dude told the physician. The physician was like, I'm a doctor. Can I go check her pulse? And he said, I get it, man. He said, I get it, man, but we have our own medics. Just give us some time.
We have our own extraction team. Once again, I'm not trying to be that person. I'm just saying that, there are ways to make a scene happen.
Right.
As theater people, we know that there's a way to make a scene happen.
I just feel like she was definitely unalived because that wife was distraught. You've seen that video?
But she wasn't distraught in the vehicle with the body of her. Like, I'm not sure you'd be able to get me away from the body of my partner.
I don't know. I don't know that I'd be like, I might be freaked out that like somebody's head was
blown off next to me.
Didn't you see the way Erica Kirk reacted to her husband dying? Do you think she didn't want to go see him? She wanted to see the fake hand after they dressed him up.
She wanted to get her marks on the stage so that she could enter and not get hit by the fireworks coming out for her Turning Point debut.
Good Lord. Okay.
I'm going to do one of my threads post. It's what a time. I'm not gonna linger here too long. I gotta go into my saves, which I hope are clean enough for the internet, because you already know. Grace isn't letting yourself off the hook. It's staying in the fight without hating yourself for being human.
You want to read that one more time for yourself?
That's why I saved it, and that's why I brought it today. Grace isn't letting yourself off the hook as it relates to the responsibilities we have, the money we need to make, our family responsibilities, the community that we serve, caring for ourselves. These are all things that need to happen. These are all things that must happen. Grace isn't letting yourself off the hook. It's staying in the fight without hating yourself for being human. And as I have been hanging on to the edge of being housed,
which happens in Stranger Things, by the way. He hangs on and then he falls and then he gets caught. I'm not telling you who, because some of y'all haven't watched the last episode of Stranger Things.
I have been judging myself severely over the last week and some change about being human. Humans get displaced. Sometimes it's not by their partner's mothers. Sometimes it's by a river surging because a hurricane came through and dumped too much water. Sometimes your house burns down with everything in it. Sometimes you get diagnosed with cancer.
Right.
There are a lot of ways that a human's life can be destabilized. You have to trust that you're able to stay in your race and to move moment by moment through the challenges with a sense of personal dignity. And I think that in the last week, I've had to grapple with where my crown was situated on my head. I think that at times I felt like my crown was just blown to the side. Because one thing you have to do when you are in a housing instability, when you need to earn money quickly in the areas that you feel called to, while making connections in a space that you are not familiar with. I'm not from here. I came here to be of service and things went left. One thing you do need in order to get yourself out of a tight spot is confidence and courage. It's very difficult for me to have confidence and courage while hating myself for being human. We cannot push against human things that happen to us. Things fall apart.
That's a book.
I know.
It's a great book. Y'all should read it.
Great book. Disappointments happen. Misalignments happen. People hate you and displace you for being silent. That's what happened to me. I was like, I don't care what kind of support you're offering me in terms of housing. I don't want to be yelled at. I don't want to be called out of my name. I don't want to have the lights turned off or the heat turned off. Like, I don't want to go through any abuse in order to be helped. I don't think that that's a necessary price to pay. And there are a lot of people out there who believe that suffering or putting up with abusive behavior or putting up with casual disrespect is the price you pay for being housed. I stopped talking to that lady in October because she really wanted to destroy my tender heart. And it took her a few months, but eventually she decided on New Year's Eve to sink my battleship, or to attempt to sink my battleship. She didn't know that I had support through Tara and a vast network of humans who love me and want to see me okay because they believe in my dreams and they believe in me and they believe in what I'm trying to do here. Not trying to do, what I'm actively doing on the planet. But as I was being displaced, I began to hate myself for being displaced. I began to hate myself for standing up for what was right. I began to hate myself for creating a tear in Poppy's family. Once again, grace isn't letting yourself off the hook and pretending like money doesn't need to be made and responsibilities don't need to be handled, but it's staying in the fight without hating yourself for feeling your feels on a Friday. Do you have any experience, Tara, in hating your humanity or wishing things were different than what you're experiencing instead of just going with the flow of what's unfolding? Have you ever had that type of resistance where it was like, damn, I wish I weren't so human. I wish I were a seagull.
Yeah, I mean, right now, like in terms of being like, because I was so outspoken during the uprisings for George Floyd, um, every time something happens, right? Politically, globally, locally, murder or not murder, whatever, like there is definitely a pressure that is really hard to hold. And sometimes it's equally as hard to hold because I was just talking to my friend about this as we were getting on here. Like, I have a great life. I have a really healthy toddler who makes me laugh, except when they're crying about nothing. And I have a baby. IVF has worked twice for me. I'm about to premiere a show. I released an album. Like, the dichotomy of the outside door versus what's inside, and needing to share all of that and needing to be in my wholeness, but oftentimes feeling very incapable of holding the wholeness consistently. Like, that feels like I want to be a frog. Like, I would rather be a bullfrog in a lake
Yeah.
ribbiting at you.
Or like
You want more.
I'm in a housing crisis right now. So I felt guilty about showing up on camera and laughing with you about life because
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be, oh, I'm in a weekly extended stay, and what if I don't have the money next week for it, or the week after that for it? Like, it's like a guilt
Yeah.
about being human, and there's always a reason to smile in every day we have,
Right. That
and
is
there's that's part of it, right? And
that's
then
joy
there's,
is the revolution, baby.
like, every day there are things to smile about. We can allow ourselves to smile about those things.
Right.
Every day there are things to be sad about. We can allow ourselves to cry about those things, but hating ourselves for crying about the things that terrorize us or hating ourselves for having a moment of reprieve from the bullshit is how we
Yeah.
get ourselves into some really, really low places. And like, to your point, you've expressed to me over the years at times feeling guilty about having abundance while others suffer. Why not rejoice in the abundance that you have today and be glad and grateful for it?
And be glad in it. I was looking to quote myself, but now I can't find the quote. Hold on. Hold on.
Once again, folks, if you're out there today and you've been doing what I've been doing for the last week and you've been hating yourself for being human and experiencing all of the things that a human can experience, loss of money, loss of time, loss of belief in yourself, if you're out there just being like, I can tell you, I am 100% in the human experience right now. There's no reason for me to vilify myself about it. Poppy Water this morning, as he was getting out of the car, said, "You need to change your outlook." Because I don't know what you need to do. He's like, maybe you need to go to mini storage and get one of those little books you read. He was like, maybe you need to find your favorite book and read something encouraging, that always a passage that brings you joy, but you got to change your outlook. You are just experiencing what it means to be a loved and lovable human on a Friday. To pretend like this Friday is heavier than all of the Fridays in all your existence is creating a hyperbolic environment that's pinching you off from there is only abundance.
Right. It is.
You're choosing to
And
not
then, yeah.
see how abundant your life really is because you're choosing to hate your human experience. What you got?
Right. And then you're cutting yourself off from all of the things that do bring you joy, like affirmations and like your music and like how many days has it been since we've actually been on a live stream and had a listening party of your music? You know, like, and it's because of that guilt of like, I can't feel good. But it also relates to something that one of the podcasts that I listen to talks about a lot, which is true crime. It's a true crime podcast. Anybody heard of it? It's called Crime Junkie. It's called Crime Junkies. Anyway, they talk a lot about like one of the things that you can kind of spot when a murderer or like someone in the family is the murderer and they come out and they're like performing the grief, right? Because they feel like if they can just pass the grief, like nobody will spot them. And so sometimes we feel like we have to act a certain type of way, but we don't actually, because we're just human. And so what I said in this caption, and I think I shared it to Real Time Social, so y'all can find it, but this was a couple days ago. It only got 1 like on Instagram. Y'all are mean. Hold on. Oh, that's true. Wow. People watched it. But anyway, I was talking about my mission and radicalizations in this current iteration. And what I said at the bottom of the caption was tragedy doesn't stop for our daily lives. It doesn't exist on a different plane. Joy doesn't stop for our daily lives. It doesn't exist on a different plane. Like these things, like we experience them as they come. They exist on this plane, all of those things. And it is okay to engage with all of it, or it's okay to set some of it down. Right?
That's quantum. That's quantum.
Yeah.
Every bad thing that could ever happen to you exists right now in
Yes.
this moment. Everything that's good that could happen to you is in the ether, as you love to say, right now. What are we going to reach in and grab out of the quantum field?
Right. Right.
Important to know.
Mhm.
I'm gonna let you riff about gatekeeping language. Do you want to take a 2-minute break, or do you want to just go in and I can come back after I go
I'll
and
go in.
water some
If you go
flowers?
forward, I can read the threads and I'll explain them. So y'all, I'm sorry to be that half Black person, but, and I talked about it in my morning yap yesterday. But currently, the other thing that is going on with Renee Good is that Black people are very upset. Some Black people, I should say, are very upset that Keith Porter's case was not widely shared, and also saying that rest in power and say her/his name is reserved for Black people and should only be used for Black people, and like da 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 da. And I'll read these two threads. I'm gonna read them. So this is from the Reclaimed, who is a person that I very much love to follow. Like usually has good stuff. But it says, if Black people tell you that phrases like say her or his name, rest in power, are reserved for Black folks who were murdered due to bigotry, because too often our names aren't said, and we rarely see any accountability for our lives being taken. And you, as a white person, rather than hearing that, adjusting and moving on, decide to talk about all the reasons why you deserve to use those phrases and call Black people divisive, you prove your activism is merely optics. Now, I do agree with the very last half of that. We're going to talk a little bit more about the say his or her name and rest in power thing in just a second. There's another blurb from Lex Tapes _, which is, we're saying her name. She was white. We are mourning her already. She was white. We are already in the streets for her. She was white. So you don't need to use say her name. We use that for our sisters who fall and won't be remembered unless we tell y'all to say their names. Now, I do think this is a little bit complicated because, like, we didn't know Renee's name for many hours on Wednesday. We literally didn't know her name. We didn't know her race, right? And half of these Black people were out there saying say her name before we knew her race. And now all of a sudden we can't use that. We can't say that, right? And Flo talked about this in his live, not in this context this morning, but talked about moving the goalposts. And I've talked about this before on this podcast, that oftentimes what happens is we get a little bit of progress in the social justice arena, and then we move the goalpost, and the people that are literally well-intentioned are like, what the hell? And then they throw up their hands and they walk away from the whole situation. Because, like, yes, I understand the concept of say her name. I understand the concept of say his name. And now there's people saying that we shouldn't even be saying say his name because the whole point was the Black Lives Matter movement was too man-centered. And so, like, we should only say her name. And I'm like, you all are insufferable with this. Let people say what they want, because we're all literally saying the same thing. We are trying to lift the names of Renee Nicole Good.
You know what we don't have? While these people are arguing about say his name, say her name, Beyonce said, say my name, is what Beyonce said.
That's what Beyonce said. Say my name when no one is around you. Say, baby, I love you.
You ain't talking trash. Let me tell you something. They're not talking about databases and Substacks that blast out the names of these people daily. There's no solidarity to getting the information to the people who want to hear it. There's just arguments about the policing of language and what's appropriate and not.
If we're all one race, if we're all humans, which I think we agree that we are, and I think we agree, even these people agree,
most days I'm human,
right? Yes. That race is a construct. Then we have got to stop gatekeeping as a Black community. Because all gatekeeping leads us to, that is a tool of the master, okay? All it leads us to is what Israel is doing. It leads us from being the oppressed to the oppressor. And I don't think that any of these people want us to be oppressors, but they're arguing about the wrong thing. This does not increase calls to Congress about ICE, to try to get ICE off the streets. This does not save anyone. It's just an argument about words that are owned by no one. No one. It's crazy making. And I've seen like hundreds of these posts. I've seen videos, I've seen threads, I've seen Instagram posts, I've seen like these whole doctoral theses on why we shouldn't say her name for a white
Feces of theses.
feces with a TH.
The feces of theses. The theses of feces.
Feces of feces. So yeah, I just this like really it really ticks me off because it like it's exclusionary, right? And like that is the game of whiteness. Whiteness excludes. And so like for me, we're just playing the hand of the massa, and we don't need to do that. They're going to play the game anyway. So stop aiding them. It's just like, and I know
Y'all wake me up when you want a human first awareness network. When
and when
y'all
you actually want to be free.
Yeah. Because wanting to police another person's language or to say they can't say that because they don't look like me is more of the same.
It's really
Like, I
frustrating.
need something innovative and new that's actually going to liberate the people.
Yeah. Agreed.
Because I want everyone just as liberated as I want to be.
Mhm.
I want everybody who's in this extended stay hotel paying way too much to be housed. I want them all in affordable housing. Not just me. I want everybody in affordable housing. Especially the light
and
workers.
not just the black people and not just the brown people, the poor white people too. Because like
Yeah.
liberation is for everyone, y'all. And that's why like when we say like no one is free until everyone is free, right? Like some of y'all are excluding white people in that conversation. Some of y'all are excluding white people from freedom. And that's not okay. Because like I said, then you're just trying to be the white man.
Well, I've had to work on this in the time that I've known you, Tara. I've had to work on eradicating this idea that every white person I see is against me.
Right.
Because unless a human gives me an inclination or indication that they are anti me, I have no reason to put that energy out into the ether and into the world.
Right. And for most of these people, most of the white people that are saying say her name, they're not the same ones in the comment section like using it as derogatory or as performative activism. They're literally just saying it because it's something that they think they learned, and they're latching onto it. They're being well intentioned, and y'all are slapping them in the face for being well intentioned.
They're trying to be reverential towards life.
Right. And y'all are like, no, you can't do that. Say anything else.
Well, we talk about this all the time. There are people on the planet, like the person who kicked me out on New Year's Eve, who they're committed to being offended.
And committed
Doesn't
to
matter
finding
what
a problem.
doesn't
Right?
matter what you do, doesn't matter what you say. If a person wants to be offended by you or offended by what you say, they will figure out a way to be offended.
Right.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do when a person wants to be more committed to being offended than liberating everybody? That was the thing that Poppy and I couldn't understand. It's like, yo, we are here to uplift everybody in this house. You don't want to see it.
Right.
There are humanitarians out here and light workers and social justice workers that want to see everybody free. Y'all don't want to see that. It's a
Y'all want
plethora
black
of
people to
yeah
be free,
buts.
but you don't want everybody to be free.
It's just a weird thing. Also, I'm going to get all kinds of crazy mail for this or ire for this. There are people who actually want to oppress us actively in the society right now. And by us, I mean anybody who is poor and dealing in financial instability. I'm not just talking about black people. I'm also not going to hold innocent, assigned white at birth people responsible for what their great, like ancestor did. It's a weird energy to carry, and I have for
I
many
know you
years,
have.
especially
Yeah.
especially as as the injustice was continuing to compound and be exacerbated while we were in the house glued to our devices, it was a lot. I mean, I kicked everybody who was lighter than me out my life.
Yes.
There were offended people like Blessed Sister Linda and beyond who were like, "What did I do?" And I'm like, "You were just lighter than a paper bag and you had to go." That kind of energy is not helpful because it does not bring unity and solidarity that's necessary to overthrow the 1% who are trying to oppress us all.
Exactly.
And in
Exactly.
every locality, we learned it in Lexington, North Carolina. We are now learning it in Savannah. There are a group of people who have the resources who do not give a solitary fuck about you being okay today.
Right. Right. And if we allowed solidarity, and by we, I mean all people, because there's white people that won't allow it, and there's black people, and there's brown people, and there's purple people, and there's green people that will not allow it. Okay. But if we allowed solidarity, we actually outnumber ICE, right? And this is the thing, like in Minneapolis, there are greater than 1 million people. There are 2,100 ICE troops. If y'all stop
Say that
infighting,
number again. Say that number again. It's
there are
important.
over 1 million regular, poor ass people in Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota.
Try to make that house payment, try to make that car note, trying to buy that food.
Right. There are 2,100 ICE agents for all of Minnesota. All, not just the Twin Cities, all. Okay. I'm just focusing on the Twin Cities. We got greater than 1 million. I think it's a lot more than 1 million. I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, if we all came together, instead of arguing about say her name, rest in power, who should be at the protest, who shouldn't be at the protest, I'm a black person, should I sit this out because it ain't about me? If we all just came together, that percentage is wackadoo. Like, we're scared because we're divided. We're scared because we're divided, and we are implementing the division. They're not implementing it. Donald Trump's not implementing it. ICE is not implementing it. You are in your house. In your house right now. You are implementing it. That's it. Oof. We are the agents of white supremacist Delulu.
We are.
We are. We are. Internally, we are. And we all do this, right? I catch it more often because I am black and white, right? So I have to find a way to be okay with the white, and I got to find a way to be okay with the black. And I can spot the oppression in both sides. I can spot it. I can sniff it out right quick, right? But I know that if we just came together, because my parents came together and created me, and I'm a stunning being. I am a radical being. I am an amazing being. I am blessed, right? So I know that if they can come together, then if all of us can come together, red, black, purple, white, green, blue,
cripple and crazy,
then we overcome. But we can't do it while we're all implementing white supremacist Delulu in our own person and in our own communities.
Or not disrupting the narrative that we're being force fed through these devices.
Right. Right.
We have to come to a place of saying, this is what they want us to believe. I actively reject that and go live on a podcast at 2:51 in the afternoon to say, I'm not with that shit.
Right.
You don't want the smoke.
Right. You don't want the smoke with those 4 stars. Baby girl had 4 stars. Listen, I don't want that smoke from that woman Amen, sister.
She goes, there'll be no hushing and shooing you away. You will be made an example of. Try it if you want to. She's like, this is not Minnesota.
We are passive aggressive here in Minnesota. Our one of the mayors said, "Get the fuck out," and people got mad at him because he said "fuck." That's Minnesota.
While the lady on the street who could have been an actor was screaming, "Shame, shame."
I regrettably giggle every time I hear that part of the video. Anyway,
it's your Game of Thrones.
Will you do your threads post? I need 2 minutes to go get the baby, and then I will be right back.
Sure thing. So Tara will be back momentarily. For those of you listening to the replay over on Substack, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you source your joy and liberation, we are on those platforms. It's going to take me a little bit of time to get this up online today because I'm working off of a 5G hotspot. The Wi-Fi here at this very expensive extended day facility is atrocious, but we are going to power on through because we're going to love our humanity and love our challenges. Heading on over to Threads. It's not what happens to you, it's the things that someone here over on Thread says social media should close every day like the grocery store. Someone then responds and says social media can close whenever you want it to if you're actually in control of your digital devices. We all have free will, which is so funny here. This free will. Hilarious. Hope you all are minding your time with your devices. I know that I'm talking to you on devices right now, so I'm not necessarily helping the situation. And let's be mindful of how we are using our time with our devices, and hopefully we're using our time with our devices for something that's bringing us peace and pointing us towards liberation. We talked earlier about the juxtaposition of Renee Nicole Good's attention being brought to her untimely departure from the planet. Renee Nicole Good's GoFundMe has surpassed $1 million. As of writing this, Keith Porter's is under 300, which is crazy. Because my Threads is a liberated space, here's a random homoerotic picture of two wrestlers fighting. This is just what my Threads is like. This is crazy. I don't even see how this happens. Is it AI? Nope, it's actually a real photo. Javen Simone says, what is confessed no longer controls me. What is confessed no longer controls me. This is the reason why I've battled against the AI and frankly some people in the network about how much to share online about what I'm currently going through. Like, you don't have to tell people that you're in housing instability. You don't have to tell people that you're struggling or that you're anxious and depressed about what you're going through in your life. You don't have to share any of that. You don't owe them your story. You don't owe them that part of you. For me, telling my partner that I am depressed or that I'm circling depression as it relates to what we're going through and that I'm in a tough spot. Or telling Tara, like, yo, this is really knocked the wind out of me. I just want to sleep all day when that's the last thing I need to be doing right now to make the money to get further financial stability for the housing instability. Me confessing these things to people who don't want me to feel badly about what I'm experiencing, but confessing this to people who want to see me win allows these self-harmful thoughts to no longer have power over me and to wreak havoc on my emotional, spiritual, and the physical coexistence of my life with others. And so that's where I'll land there with my threads share. I like this. I'm gonna love it and repost it in real time. What is confessed no longer controls me. The things that I tell people in earnestness about what I'm going through and my vulnerability about how I feel is a superpower. And I'm not going to see it as anything less than a superpower. How people react to my truth is their business. Me getting, because Tara thought that my conspiracy was that they were coming to take the car. Now, like, we've already put the down payment down. The first payment isn't due until until like the middle of February. I was convinced that someone was going to come and take it last night. Had Poppy asking me this morning, is it still out there? Because I haven't had a car of my own in like over 15 years. So there's also this fear about having new nice things. There's this fear of having freedom that I haven't felt in the last 5 years or so. Me confessing that allows me to get out of my head and to get on with the work of my life and my heart. And I'm grateful for everybody who listens to the podcast and follows our work and follows our lives. I'm grateful to all of you who allow us to confess. It is a gift to have people to confess to. I'm scared. Send. It's
I'm circling the drain. Send.
Just those of us who are in touch with our emotions and are seeking emotional sobriety and stability recognize that just voicing the needs and voicing the concerns often takes the power away from the fear that we feel. Because the people in my life go, all right, you're scared, you're afraid. What are you going to do about it? How do you want to create conditions for a better coexistence with the universe that you're in? Now we're going to let Tara have a
Hey y'all.
With
I'm back. We'll be quick about this because I have a meeting in 30 minutes, and this is a long one because we just got back, and it's a new year and lots of things are happening. Thank you so much, baby. Piper was rearranging the dog water bowls, so we had to fix that really quick. So the other thing that the federal government is doing is, in fact, bombing countries. I don't remember if we talked about Nigeria, but they did bomb Nigeria on Christmas Day. Love that. And then because oil, Donald Trump decided that we should go into Venezuela and capture their president and his wife, and then say we are running the country. To which the vice president, acting president, said, no, we only recognize one president, Maduro. And don't get it twisted, y'all. Maduro is not a good dude. He's not a good dude. He's a dictator. He's not a good dude. However, countries aren't supposed to kidnap other countries' presidents and stuff. Like, we're not supposed to do that based on international law. The latest that I saw was Donald Trump was going to try to leave a bunch of like world organizations because he wants to do what he wants. And they're all related to the UN, which calls people out on illegal criminal activity in the world. So he doesn't want to deal with that. As the lady said earlier, he doesn't want that smoke. So yeah, that's what happened. It happened, I think it was last weekend. I think it was maybe like January 1st or 2nd that it happened. So it the president, I think, is standing trial here in the United States. And we'll just kind of see.
Which I find to be extremely ironic because we don't hold our own citizens accountable for their crimes. So it's very weird that we would go into a foreign country and extract whole humans out of their homeland to hold them accountable in New York here when they push against. You got a person walking in the background.
I see that.
I'm not sure if you know it, but you're not home alone.
I didn't know.
There's someone in the house. It's just very weird that we pick and choose who we want to hold accountable, but we know that this is about the oil. This is about resources and a grab for resources. You also brought something to.
Oh yeah, so this was just to reiterate that it's about oil. It says, it is 1991, I am 9 years old, and my country has started an illegal war for oil. It is 2002, I am 20 years old, and my country has started an illegal war for oil. It is 2026, I am 43 years old, and my country has started an illegal war for oil. So 2002 being Afghanistan and Iraq. Hey, don't do that to Moose. 2026 being Venezuela, and then 1991 being the it's going to come to me. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's the first one. It's the George H. Bush one.
To Kuwait?
I can't remember. The Gulf War. Jeez. Sorry, I knew it was one word. Anyway, yeah. He also tried to do the Middle East, but I'm not sure he was real successful at that, which is why George W. Bush was like, yeah, let's do it. Anyway, he was finishing his daddy's work. Love that.
This was from August 2nd, 1990 to February 28th, 1991. It was coalition forces from 35 nations led by the United States against Iraq in response to Iraq's invasion and annexation of Kuwait. It's like being in a car with drunk people.
And wanting to get out. That's what Piper would do, being in that car.
Desperately wanting to get out. My precious life will not primarily be used to convince folks racism exists. My precious life will not primarily be used to convince folks racism exists. I'm stepping into what's next for me. Javen Simone says, I pray you do the same. You betrayed me. I won't betray myself to make you comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a man being knocked out for disrespecting a woman.
Okay.
My cousin is going viral for knocking out a man on Malcolm X Boulevard for disrespecting a woman on the sidewalk. I mean, he put him to sleep. Man Danique says Threads is slowly being overrun with media. Do you think that's true?
No, I guess, I mean, I see PBS and then I see Bring Me the News, but I follow Bring Me the News, which is Minnesota news. Do you see? I mean, I guess I've seen CNN and ABC, but I don't see them very often. I see those more on Facebook.
Creative people have a tough time sleeping. Do you have a tough time sleeping, or is it just me as an overthinker, worrier type that I am?
It kind of depends, but it's not because of my creativity. Sometimes I'm up because I drank caffeine too late in the day. Sometimes I'm up because I'm uncomfortable. Sometimes I'm up because I have a thought. You know? I did not sleep well Wednesday night because I was worried about what was going to happen in the city. Mm.
You don't wait until death to become a good ancestor.
That's what Poppy would say.
Mm-hmm. And here is, well, I can't do that, but just know that Bruno Mars returns with a new single hit. I Just Might. But I can't play it here because they'll mute me out. Last thing that I want to share is Minix Couture saying, I wish I was dumb and didn't know anything tech related. I swear. Do you wish that you knew less about how Big Brother is watching us and all of these things? I wish I did.
I mean, I just kind of don't pay attention to it. Like, I know it, but I just ignore it because I'm
That's
not
the American way.
Yeah, I'm not that interesting. Like, I'm really not. And if they're going to come get me, they're going to come get me without the surveillance anyway. Like, once again, like, people, the fear mongering of like, don't riot in the streets because they're going to start they need a reason to start martial law. No, girl, they're just going to do it. If they want to kill you, they're going to kill you. Look at Renee.
You've been saying that to me all week as it relates to my personal crises as well. It's kind of like if you have a problem, then speak the problem. But if you don't have a problem, don't worry about it. Like, just trust yourself to be able to handle if an ICE person comes to your door.
Yeah.
Deal with it then, but not a moment.
I mean, if law enforcement comes to my door, I have an idea of what I would do, but that situation hasn't happened yet. So I got to trust that my future self, when that happens, is going to know what to do. You know? But nothing's the problem right now. What is what is. Right now, It's very sunny outside. The silver car has gone from across the street. I saw them pull out during the live. My neighbors aren't home. I don't think anybody's really home. My kid's playing in the Tupperware drawer. Like, that's what is. Yeah. So I don't like worry about them watching me because, like, once again, like, it's kind of like the same thing as like being worried that people are going to steal your social security number. Like, please steal my social security number and pay my student loans. Like, trust me, you don't want my social security number, girl. You know what I mean? Like, so I just don't worry about it. I'm like, I'm not the problem to government. I'm really not. I'm a person that pays my taxes. I do my own taxes every year. Like, they don't have any reason to worry about little old Tara, except that she knows how to organize. But like, if they were going to stop me from doing that, they would, whether or not I talked about it in channels, even in public channels.
But you mentioned this, those of us who are doing the light work and actually organizing even in our space, we still outnumber the naysayers and the idiots. That's an important takeaway for me today.
Why we should feel empowered to speak and continue to speak. I think one of the biggest things about activism right now, and like I don't agree with the RSVP things to protest. I think that's weird. Like, that is really weird.
That's just a
But this,
marketing call.
right, but this, like, insistence on anonymity, insistence on, like, not posting anything from the protest, like, that's just kind of, like, feeding into the fear of it all, or, like, not posting online that you're going, or not, da 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 da. Like, it used to be like, don't ever, you shouldn't share your phone number online. Y'all remember those days? It was like the early 2000s. Like, don't share your phone number online because then people can scam you. Da 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 da. Don't, like, make sure people don't ever see your home address because then they can find you. Like, if people are going to find you, they're going to find you. Like, and so let's stop blaming the victims of the thing that happens and start actually making the world safe. Like, I guess that's it for me. Is I feel like a lot of that is just like a scare tactic to make us all, quote unquote, behave, right, in a specific way, and I don't think that that's helpful, because I will speak my mind.
And you will what?
I will speak my mind.
For sure,
Yeah.
And just so you all know, because there's been at least one raising of concern, Love and Action Network is just as dedicated and unified as we've ever been. Once again, Tara is incubating a whole child and raising a toddler. I am working on climbing out of a hole that a family member of my partner shoved us in. But we've not disbanded. We're still in the chats. We're still here
every day. And if y'all want peer support rooms, all you got to do is RSVP for free 99. It's not that hard. We're asking you to take the step that we took for 8 months of showing up to a room where you may or may not have come to.
And I mean, even Commissioner Gordon had to put on the bat signal.
Right. So, like,
it's fine.
We're still here. We're still working. We took our unlimited PTO over the last 2 weeks, and we're back. And if you need something, you know where to find us.
We are as organized as ever, and always a text message away. Ask Dr. Flo on Instagram or private channels if you've got that, but Instagram works wonderfully for surveilling us and connecting us. And then Tara's at Tara Paolo Studio, and she may respond to you if she feels like it.
It's really true. And I'll just state that here. I haven't stated it to my actual audience, but, like, y'all, if I post something publicly, don't come into my DMs. I posted it publicly for a reason. My DMs are not open to you. I will see it and I will never read it because that stuff annoys me. I don't have the time. Okay. I'm that person. Now, if you message me on a topic that, like, you need help with, cool. But, like, please be respectful of that. I have a bunch of people that, like yesterday or 2 days ago, I had posted for recommendations on, like, double strollers and stuff for the new baby. And I got, like, 4 people who texted me instead of commented. I made the post so that you all could comment. I don't want to be in text messages with you.
She's saying these things in public, and we are offering this podcast and things in public to create a liberated, non-whispering, non-secluded, non-fearful approach to talking about the things out loud. We've deconstructed religion here, politics, law enforcement. We're actively bringing these topics out into the main hallway so that we can actually get free in this lifetime and not in the next. So no DM whispering and witchcraft of seclusion. We'd like to talk about things like ceasefire in public with all of you and encourage you to lift your voice so that we can have, universal basic income would be nice. Affordable housing for everybody would be nice right now, not only in my life, but in the lives of those humans who deserve it around the world. And it's just what the Buddha talked about: greed, hatred, anger, and delusion that's causing us to have these issues.
Okay, so this is technically about Venezuela, but we do talk about ceasefire now. And since that is the most recent bombing, you know, I brought it here. So this is a thread from BRWNEYEDAMZN. And it says, we've spent a year, dehumanizing Venezuelan immigrants so that the public would lose compassion for us. Now America is bombing us. It was never about drugs or safety. It's about Venezuela being a country with some of the largest oil reserves on the planet. It's about greed, hate, and greed. And that is all of that these bombs are. And of course, we always say on this podcast, ceasefire now in our hearts and in our minds, and the world over.
Yeah, there's a war trying to happen in my chest and in my mind. And I know that there's a war happening in the hearts and minds of those who listen to our podcast and those who don't even know that we exist on the planet. It's important that we try to quell that and create a peacekeeping mission inside ourselves so that we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater as it relates to our humanity and our dignity and what we deserve. We're all worthy of a happy, healthy, and free life. And our ability to not be at war with ourselves and others is part of the solution. We also have programs here for those of you listening on the podcast. The Adopt a Black Artist program is going strong. I've been adopted by people in the last week or so, and we are also helping others who would like assistance. This afternoon and this evening is dedicated to me going out, just like on The Deadliest Catch, and just putting my nets,
Your nets and your bait.
and my bait into the water, you
Mhm.
know, and just continuing to uplift people while also being uplifted myself. It's okay to be in mutually beneficial exchange, and our Adopt a Black Artist program is part of that. We also are still offering daily peer support, not so much in the clubhouse spaces like we used to, although we're more than open to doing that. Most of the work now is happening in our WhatsApp group, free of charge. So if you'd like to stop by, as Sister Loretta did last night, to let us know roses, thorns, needs, and seeds, we are very responsive there, and daily peer support is still going on, although it looks a bit different. It's not just sitting around and talking for hours. We are doing it remote because that's what the moment is requiring of us. And also, I'm advertising admin and support services in the areas of project management and also coaching for those who want to move forward at the top of the year with allowing the conditions for their manifestations and their dreams. So if you're out there needing support in the way of performance, clarity, public speaking, organizing your emails, and your projects for success, we have a lot of people on hand, led by myself, who would love to help you actualize this year and manifest. I'm going to be using my own services today and into the weekend in order to get things rolling along, because they're, like we talked about, ICE being outnumbered. I and Tara are outnumbered by the people who want to be encouraged by us. And so if you're out there and you're an encourager and you're like, where are the people for me to serve? Trust me, they're everywhere. They're waiting on your smile. They're waiting on your services. They're waiting on the gifts that you bring to the planet. They're also waiting on Dr. Flo and the Love Experience to come to town. If you want to celebrate the power of love through music, theater, and art, go to the website, lovedandlovable.bio.link, 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 and I would love to connect with those who want to bring a new song. I am loved and lovable, shining unstoppable. I'm going to bring that to the planet. Tap into the website. It's going to look like this in the end. And I can't wait. I was telling Instagram this morning that the fact that I'm in extended stay, extremely expensive housing funded by the community and funded by Poppy Water and I's unit, The fact that out of this, and this is something that we're going to use for the archives later, it's that the fact that we're sitting here in front of a green wall in a hotel room, and that on the other side of this is going to come this expression. Mark my words, folks. There is literally nothing that can stand in the way of me sitting displaced in this hotel with this mock-up of what's to come. I'm going to continue to ask, believe, and receive. I'm going to continue to drink my coffee and mind my business and rely on the community of supporters the people who have given to us in the last week to help us sustain the mission and to stay alive and to stay safe. They don't have any qualms or disagreement with what I'm doing. The people who displaced me have an issue with what I'm doing. But the people who've given from their abundance to keep things online in the last week, they've never made an indication that they did not want this to be the end goal. You've seen online family members of Poppy say, "Get a job, you unhygienic motherfucker." The people who have been giving to us to fuel the love experience and to keep us safe, they want me on my job and on my life assignment doing this in the world and nothing else but it. And we're inviting everybody to, as Poppy would say, get with the program and to watch us rise in love. Love will rise in us. Love will rise in us. We are more than the pain that we carry. Tara, what you got going on?
My child is learning to talk, as you can hear. I've got TPS Community Commons, which is WhatsApp community. We've got Liberation Conversations, Blackening the Canon, as well as some private voice chats over there. I'm working on developing more of that and marketing it more. I also, on January 1st, released my second album, I Dream a World. You can purchase that at tarapriolo.bandcamp.com. You can also listen for free 99, 5 listens all the way through. I will also be sharing more on that. I've struggled. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't gotten anything out about the album. But you know what? The album's not going anywhere. It's literally going to sit there, just like Soliloquy has been there for 3 years. So if you want to hear a lot of my voice, you can go over to tarapriolo.bandcamp.com, and there's about an hour's worth of Black music by Black composers recorded by yours truly. And then also, there's a couple, if you're local, there is a performance on January 18th of Opera on Tap at Metronome Brewery, and I am singing on that. And then at the end of the month is the world premiere of My Name is Florence. I do have a code if any of you are local and want to come. There are 4 dates, January 31st, and then February 5th, February 7th, and February 8th. I have a code to get a discount, and it will be broadcast on NPR. I have to double check what date that is. I think it's the Thursday night performance. I think it's February 5th, but I will double check that as we get closer so that those of you that are out of town, if you would like to listen, you most definitely can. And I do have a little solo, so you will hear my voicey voice, which I'm very excited about. So that's what's going on in TPS, as well as the usual teaching, etc. Yeah.
Thank you, Tara. You are amazing. And I appreciate all of the love that you've offered to this community and all of the love that you're putting out into the world. And I'm very excited about your project coming out and also your world debut. Did you tell them about NPR simulcasting?
Yeah, I did.
Very good. I was a little distracted while you were sharing because I'm not sure if I want to end the pod with this. There's been a new video. Have you seen the new video that's come out from Renee Good's demise?
No, but I only have 4 minutes, so
oh God, that's tragic.
I have to go to a meeting. Again?
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. That's okay. We don't our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the
All right,
car.
baby, come on. That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you.
This has got to be AI.
It's okay, we don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen.
That video, it must be faked because the wife is not in the car.
Well,
Was that?
I've been telling you for a minute. Like, I wondered who that person was that was filming him, and he was filming that person. I think the wife was outside of the car.
I don't know.
We thought the wife was in the car. I don't think the wife was in the car.
It's not reported on any actual news source, so we'll see. But it's not. I just Googled it to see because that looks like it would be like what he was filming, but there's nothing on anything official. Not that official is always correct, but that looked like something different than we've also seen from the other angles.
I'm not saying that we're conspiracy in theory.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I think what happened happened.
Discover
I'm a
classes,
conspiracy theorist
workshops.
that aliens exist, but that's it.
Discover classes, workshops, and private sessions with Dr. Flo and all of our practitioners. Your breakthrough starts now through Love and Action Network. Visit our website, lovedelovable.bio.link, 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 and check us out on our Substack, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. This replay will be up in full, all 2 hours of it, very, very soon. Stay in your power, stay in your joy, stay loved and loved.